So, what do you view as the most challenging issue facing Snyder County today, and how would you address it?
Okay. I think probably one of the biggest challenges that we have in Snyder County today is the access to broadband for our local economy and for our local residents. I think anybody that's ever dealt with dial-up or DSL connections knows that without a high-speed type broadband connection to the internet, businesses suffer. I've talked to many business people in the county that do not have adequate bandwidth on their internet connections. They can drop orders in the middle of an ordering process. People can't get into their web servers to order their products. They can't upload their products that they need to have go to their suppliers and vendors. So it's a real economic development issue that I think that we need to focus on in the county, and we have started that process along with Union County in a combined effort to do a study right now. We're modeling it after something that's recently been done in Montour County, and we're watching that very closely. I know a lot of concerns. I've had people share concerns about the back end of the technology that helps us to do that project. So I'll be watching that very closely to make sure that before we spend any more money, we'll know that it's working in those other counties that have started down that path.
Well, that leads us to the second question. Snyder and Union counties now operate a regional 911 system.
Mm-hmm.
You've mentioned it a little bit here, but are there other services that should be regionalized to the benefit of taxpayers?
Last evening, we talked about regionalization projects with Schneider, Union, and Northumberland counties. And I pointed out to everyone in the crowd that back in the early to mid 1800s, we were all Northumberland County because everything Schneider and Union came out of Northumberland County back in those early years. So why shouldn't we work together on projects that make sense? When you bundle projects like that, you cut out the need for 3 managers or 3 directors, and you can potentially have 1. And that lack of overhead, economies of scale, provide savings to all of the counties that are involved to their taxpayers. So again, it's not necessarily something we can do in every department, but with the 911 center, we will have a more efficient, more up-to-date, state-of-the-art 911 center for Union and Schneider counties than we could have ever had if we were doing it on our own. So people will be safer and we'll be saving money at the same time. In fact, in the first 2.5 years, Schneider County will have saved over $300,000. Our goal was to save $1 million over 10 years. We are well on our way to saving that much and more.
What areas in the county budget would you expand or decrease?
What areas of the budget? Okay. I will say this. Up until 1.5 years ago, Schneider County was in the best financial shape that it's been in since I've been in office. And I would say in the probably the last 20 years. We had over $500,000 sitting aside in a separate account that was saved over the last 10 years. And it took Malcolm, Dirk, and I, and Peggy to save that money through a very regimented budget process. Schneider County is not in that same position today. I've been on record with my votes against many of the things that have been done over the last 18 months, hiring positions that I felt we did not need. So part of one of the things that I think we need to do in our budget moving forward is to reevaluate our entire budget once again. And that's something that county commissioners need to do every so often anyway. If they don't do it every year, they need to do it every 5 years or every 10 years. And I think that's one of the great things about an election is new eyes, new faces, new ideas come to the table and they reevaluate the budget. And I plan to do that next year. In fact, I've already shared some of my thoughts about how we could do that with many of our department heads. And I think I won't make any statements beyond that, how I think we could do that, until I see who is definitely going to be the candidates in the fall. And if it's myself and my running mate, Chuck Steininger, then I'll talk about the ideas that we have. But until the voters tell us that we're their choices, the Republican voters in the county for the primary, I'll save those ideas because I don't want to necessarily give them to everybody else. I'll gladly share them after the primary.
How important is it to fund social service programs such as children and youth and veterans organizations?
I think that we have a responsibility as a county, by county code, to do certain things. The state mandates us to fund certain things. the Veterans Court, or not Veterans Court, I'm sorry, the Veteran Services that we provide through the county, I think is a great example where we were actually saving quite a bit of money up until about a year and a half ago. We were meeting all of the needs of what we were required to do. So then it becomes an issue of what do you want to do above and beyond what you're required. My first goal is to do what we are required to do by law and by county code. Anything more than that needs to be evaluated. The other commissioners in the county decided to go well beyond that. I voted against that. I didn't think that we needed to go that far. And when someone asked me for a 58% increase in their budget mid-budget year, nonetheless, that's a problem. And it doesn't matter what department it is, that's a problem that needs to be addressed during the budget process, not mid-year, because budgets cannot be sustained and kept on budget when you do those things through the middle of the budget process. It doesn't work that way. The budget process works when it's followed, and that procedure had been broken.
What separates you from the other candidates, and why should voters elect you?
Well, anybody who knows me knows that it's difficult for me to talk about myself because it's just not me. I don't really want to talk about myself. But as candidates, we're forced to do that. So let me think about how I could address that question. I guess number one, as I look, and this is a good time after coming off of a night of candidates forum last evening in Lewisburg, to see all of the candidates, not only in Schneider County, but in Northumberland and Union counties as well. I guess I sat in that room and I realized that I'm probably one of the most experienced candidates in the race, just because I've been here for 3 terms. I've been here 12 years. I know how government works, but I also know that I want to fight against what government does and do things the way business people do things. And that's not always an easy thing to do. There's always a natural clash between government and business, and how business and government run things. So I will continue to fight to run government as a business. Beyond that, I know how to get things done. The proof of that is that every single department head in our county, even if they don't report directly to me, calls me to get things done, because they know that I'm the worker. I'm the one that's going to get things done, at least get the ball rolling. So I feel that I've earned that respect because they know that I'm not afraid to get out and get my hands, roll up my sleeves and get my hands dirty and help solve the problems that we have to face in Schneider County. And moving forward, I will continue to do that. And I'm glad to see a lot of folks that are running for office. I think that gives me even more of an advantage, and my running mate, because it shows that we have the characteristics that make true leaders that get things done, and that's what we need in our county.
Thank you.
Thank you.